I'd like to welcome Kristina Leesik and Justyna Krzyżanowska to the podcast. They are a wonderful Swedish folk duo titled Woodlands. Kristina handles the violin while Justyna plays the harp. Welcome, Kristina, Justyna, to the show.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So glad that
Yeah.
you're having us.
Yeah, glad to see you too. So I'd like to thank Jocelyn Petit and Ellen Jura for introducing me to the two of you. I had an interview with them a few months ago when I was still back in Budapest, and the interview is coming next week. So I'll send you guys the link.
Great.
Yeah. So how did you and Jocelyn and Ellen know each other?
Yeah, well, we got to know each other in Glasgow in Scotland because we were the four of us. We were studying there for some time, and Kristina was doing an exchange, I believe, Erasmus exchange, and Jocelyn, Ellen, and I were at the master's program there.
Oh wow!
So that's how we first got to know each other.
And what was the program that you all were studying?
It was Scottish traditional music.
Yeah, the Royal Conservatoire in Glasgow.
How long ago was this?
So this was in 2017, or like 2018, and I've been studying a master. I just graduated 1 year ago. So then Ellen was doing her PhD. So yeah, I used to see her as well in Glasgow last year.
I'm sure you've had fond memories of the program there.
Yeah, definitely. It's been yeah, for me, I really had a really good time and meeting so many good and inspiring musicians and teachers, and just the music scene in Glasgow is incredible. You can't find that anywhere else. I would say with this genre of music, the Scottish music is just the best place for it.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I'm told, Kristina, that you split your time between Sweden and Scotland.
Exactly, that's right. So I live in Glasgow, but I travel back and forth for my music projects. For example, yeah, Justyna lives in Sweden, so we do gigs in Sweden, and with our other project that's called Woodlands with a quartet. So we do lots of gigs in Sweden as well, and we've done a little bit international as well. So so it's been really fun to be able to share the music with the audience worldwide, kind of.
I'm sure it does. So tell me about the Beckafal duo.
Justyna, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, it's a collaboration that was like started during the pandemic, and also like because of the pandemic. So Beckafal were supposed to play with two girls from Ireland at a festival in Gothenburg in, I think it was 2020, right? Yeah. And then their flights were canceled. So they wanted to find some replacement, and they asked us. They knew of us and we knew them, but we hadn't really played together before. And yeah, and then we said yes, and then we had one day to play together and just practice before the concert. And then the next day we had the concert, so there wasn't a lot of time to how do you say, to learn how to play together. But it went surprisingly well, and just our instruments fit so well together, and like the way of our playing fitted so well, and we could really like balance each other. And yeah, so it was a very successful 2 concerts that we gave the next following day, and then we just we thought this is too good to just be a one-time thing. so we wanted to continue and play more together. So since then we have played, and we just recorded our first album as a quartet this spring in April.
Wow.
So we're really looking forward to releasing it hopefully soon.
Wonderful. Yeah. I look forward to its release, and I love to talk to you guys once again when it's out.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So far you've collaborated with Beckafell for 2 singles. Barn Dances is the first one, and Broken Bow is the second one. So tell me about your experience recording with them.
Oh, it was a really good experience because we had so much fun, and we were doing it live in the same room. So for me, that I could get a bit nervous when it's like, okay, you have to make everything right in this take and stuff. But with them, it was just very easy, and we just had such a good time doing it together. So we spent, I think it was 4 days in a cabin out in the woods in the western part of Sweden. So we're just spending time together, eating nice food and drinking some wine in the evenings, and then recording during the days. And we had a really nice studio engineer. His name is Gustav. What's his surname? Yeah, but Gustav was really good. His studio is called Vågen, so the glass bird kind of. So yeah, for me it was just a really fun experience. What would you say?
And that was for recording our album. So the singles we did somewhere else.
I see.
Yeah.
So have you got a title for the album yet?
No, not yet. We have some thoughts, and it's like, for me it feels like a colorful explosion. So we just have something that feels fun and energetic, I would say. But I think we have to get everyone together. We're all in different parts of the world and Sweden, so
let's see. And your self-titled debut album as a duo, Woodlands, was released in 2020, so pandemic year. So was the recording process of the album finished before the pandemic hit, or did that overlap?
So we actually started recording the exact week when the pandemic broke out, or the restrictions started coming here in Sweden. So it was like one of the weeks in March 2020, and we had booked this time for recording like in advance. And I lived in Scotland then, and Kristina lived in Sweden. And my plan was just to come for a week to record. So I brought my harp and like clothes for a week, and left everything else in Glasgow in my apartment. And then we drove to the studio, and then like everything started happening, and we were like, what is going on in the world? But we were like in the studio, I had to do our thing. So like I remember in the breaks we had the radio on, and like to have the news and like hearing about any updates. And then when we finished recording, then I decided to stay in Sweden and not go back to Scotland, because I thought like if I was preferring to be here with my family instead of going back to the UK. And then it was like too late to go back during the summer, and because there were no flights, and it was everything was closed down. So I think we will remember that week forever. When we recorded, because it was like a historical moment. And then we released the album in August, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful album. And I know that there's some singing in there too. So which one of you did the vocals?
Oh, I think we're splitting with the vocals. Or no, am I doing the lead?
Yes. I just
Okay.
sing like a little bit, like almost nothing. But Kristina is singing 2 songs.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I'm doing a Gaelic immigrant song, but we translated it to Swedish, and then it's another one called Old Man from Over the Sea, I think it's called, Irish traditional song. So we really like to blend the vocals with our tunes and with our arrangements as well, to maybe compose a tune and include that in the song as well. So
Wonderful. Yeah. So tell me about living through the pandemic in Sweden. I hear that it is less restrictive than most of the world.
yeah, we'd never had a lockdown really, so I could do full-time teaching with 200 kids per week without having a mask or anything. I could just work normally, and actually I never got sick at all that year. So it's a bit surprising maybe how it was here, but so it was just kind of just went on. But then for us as musicians, we did have to do more live streams, so that was another thing to learn. So we did, like, it's a big museum called the Vasa Museum here, so we did a live stream there, but that was the first time in the museum where they didn't have any people, so we just had this big ship in the back, like a backdrop, and then we were playing a concert there. So we got to do some incredible stuff that we wouldn't have been able to do if not for the pandemic as well. So yeah, it's
and
really
a very, and a very memorable thing as well, that we got a job at a regional music organization a bit north of Stockholm. We were supposed to play at like retirement homes for a month, doing 3 concerts a day. And we were really, really looking forward to this job. And I think we got it like in the beginning of the year. So we knew that like during the summer we would, I think it was in August maybe, or that we were gonna do this tour of like 50 concerts. And then this organization, they were like they didn't know what to do when with restrictions, but they did a compromise so that we played. We got to play outside, so outside of these retirement homes. So sometimes the people would like come out and listen to us in the garden, or they would be sitting on their balconies, for example. And one time we got to play on like a roundabout, like there was like a whole street with houses, and we were sitting on the roundabout and like having the speakers at full blast. So it was like I don't know, like we were playing at the arena or something. So when no one was playing any concerts, we got to do this tour of like 50 concerts in 1 month. So that was really, like, we were so lucky to have that job.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's quite fortunate that in Sweden they don't restrict people's movements as much. I remember I was living in Canada around that time, and there were like intermittent lockdowns, and it was rather awful.
Yeah, can imagine that.
So how would you describe the folk music scene in Sweden in general, and your localities where you are?
So I have my roots in the Swedish traditional music. So I've been, ever since I was a kid, been to lots of festivals and like sessions. So like there's lots of music in Sweden, but maybe the scene is a bit small. But once you're in the scene, there's so much happening across whole Sweden, and so that's my experience, that there's so much music when you open the door to the world. And there's definitely a traditional Irish folk music scene as well. So we have some sessions in the city of Stockholm as well, where you can meet up and play like Scottish or Irish music as well. So,
but
yeah.
for sure, it's quite small if you compare to the UK, for example. And like I guess pop music is the biggest, or electronic music. That's what Sweden is known for. So folk music it's quite small. And there's also fewer people here. So that narrows it down, like naturally.
Hmm.
And for example, for me, the harp is not a traditional instrument over here. So no one really plays it here. It's mostly fiddles and nyckelharpa, which is like the keyed fiddle, and yeah, other instruments. So like the harp over here is basically non-existent. It's just like people play classical harp, but not in folk music.
Yeah, and of course, the most famous Swedish musical act is, of course, ABBA. Everyone
Yeah.
Yes.
and their moms know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you guys are the first like Swedish folk music act that I've met, and you, Justyna, are the first Swedish harpist that I've met. So I like to ask about the portability of your respective instruments. I know that carrying a violin around is much easier than carrying a harp around. So I'd like to ask Justyna about how you managed to carry that piece of musical
Well.
equipment around when you do your shows.
Yeah, I mean, I have to do it, so I have to find a way. And when I learned to drive, like my incentive, or like why I learned to drive, was to be able to drive my own instrument. And so that was like my main motivation. And well, if you're a harpist, you have to be able to drive and have your own car. It makes life a lot easier. And yeah, so we have our little van, and then yeah, we drive around and play. And yeah, I have a little trolley that if we walk for further bits, then I put the harp on my trolley and then go. But yeah, I've brought my harp to very remote and far places, so I mean, it's definitely possible. You just have to be dedicated.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you both know how to drive, right?
Yes, exactly. So we're very happy we're both drivers.
Mhm.
So example, if you're doing a tour, it's so nice to be able to switch the driver. So or
I see.
rotate.
Yeah. So how long ago did you get your driver's licenses, respectively?
Oh, it was over yeah, it must be 11 years ago now. So
Yeah,
yeah.
9 years ago for me.
Yeah. For me,
So
it was like two years ago. Yeah, I was studying for the license exam in the very city that I'm currently sitting in, Hanoi, and it was during the summer, so it was very hot, just like it is right now here.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a nice freedom to have to be able to drive around and do whatever you want.
of course. Yes, well, provided that you have a vehicle, which currently I do not.
Exactly. That's true.
So what is summer like in Sweden?
Oh, I would say it's the best time in Sweden. But yeah, at the moment it's a bit, yeah, it's not so warm, but we had warm days. It's been a bit rainy now, so maybe 20 degrees. So, but we have kind of the midnight sun up north, so that makes the days really long, and it doesn't get too dark down here in Stockholm as well. So that's really nice, I would say.
Yeah.
so the sun maybe sets for like 3-4 hours over here. And yeah, so it's almost light until 11.
Oh wow.
And then it goes up at 2 or 3 again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like sunny, almost like 24 then.
Well, sunny, yeah, when the sun is out.
Oh, I see.
But it's, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
right. So, but yeah, if you go up north, like you could definitely feel the sun if it's still up like midnight, and you can still feel the heat of the sun, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
mm,
It's a bit confusing, and people needs to have blinds on their houses and stuff to be able to manage this, because otherwise it's tricky to be able to sleep, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how difficult
mm.
is the winter?
Yeah, it's long.
It can, I think the last winter lasted, it was like 6 months in total that there was snow, and yeah. I mean, it comes and goes, but like I think it was around 6 months. So it's a long period of darkness as well, because in the winter it's the opposite way around, that we have very few hours of sun during the day.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. One of my favorite movies ever was made by the great Swedish film director Ingmar Bergman. I believe Winter Light is the English title. I'm not sure what it's called in Swedish, but yeah, it's a very thought-provoking and meditative, and at times very depressing uh, film that deals with the themes of life and death and war and peace and everything in between. And I suppose once you know what the Swedish winter feel like, that's the kind of movies that you would end up making. So kudos to Mr.
Yeah.
Bergman for that.
yeah.
How did you find the movie? Or did you know about Ingmar Bergman before the movie, or did you just find
Um,
it?
I suppose so. I believe I may have watched like one or two of his movies before that.
Mm,
Seventh Seal, I believe. But yeah, he's legendary.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I still have a few of his movies to go through, so yeah, should do that.
Mhm. Yeah. So,
Mm.
are you both like cinephiles?
Sorry?
Are you both cinephiles? Do you both like watching movies? I mean,
Yeah, when I have the time, but I usually get stressed when I start to watch a movie because there's so much other things I should be doing, like practicing or sending emails. Yeah, I don't know how you feel, Justyna, but
Yeah, like I rarely these days, maybe I rarely find the time to watch anything. So, yeah, I'm not a huge cinephile, maybe, but yeah, enjoy when. But lately, I've just been finding like you watch so much crap, and it's hard to find something like in the theaters, for example. It's hard to go watch a movie that's gonna be like really good. It feels like so many things are very unoriginal right now. It's not worth it to go to the cinema even,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
at least here.
I get the same
Like,
feeling.
yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, but I think if you can find the time, and of course, if you're in the right mood, I think the films of
Hmm.
Bergman are the best.
Mm.
yeah.
But also, yeah, if they are dark and depressing, there's all enough of that in life, I think. So, like, I don't know if I would be like interested to watch that and feel even worse, but yeah. And like the most common genre in um, literature and what people read over here, and also like in movies, is different types of thrillers. So maybe you have heard of different Swedish thrillers. Or
Yeah.
how was it called? The girl with the dragon tattoo,
Mhm. Yeah.
if you know. Yeah.
I
So
do know that. I've watched both
yeah.
the Swedish film version as well as the American Hollywood film version by David Fincher, and I
Uh-huh.
like the American made film better.
Mm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of yeah, I don't know, like darkness No, but darker, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
themes.
I've heard that it's a very popular genre in
Very,
Sweden.
it's the most
Oh,
popular
really?
over here, I would say.
Mhm.
Mm.
Well, okay. Well, it's yeah, it's not my cup of tea, and at least
Yeah.
not most of the time. It's
But it's interesting how it is in different countries. For example, so I'm actually Polish, not
Mhm.
Swedish. That's big, why my name is so different. But in Poland, for example, like fantasy, I would say, is one of the bigger. Like, for example, The Witcher came from that. So yeah. So it's fun to see how it's. I don't know about UK maybe, but they like their kind of detective
Yeah, that's a
mystery
bit. I
novels maybe
think so.
or historical drama. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember there was this very popular UK crime drama named Luther with Idris Elba, and I remember watching a few episodes, and I was like completely
Mhm.
revolted by it because the nature of the crimes that were depicted is just too inhuman.
Mhm.
But uh, so I believe the day before this we record this program, you guys went on a concert. So tell me about that.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we played the concert yesterday, yeah. Yes, so we were playing in a really old church. Maybe it's like around 1 hour from Stockholm, so in Uppland. So yeah, so that was a really nice time, and the guy who was organizing the concert, he was a big fan of Scottish and Irish music. So we had a set of tunes with him in the end, and he had playing his piano accordion, and so he had like different settings on the accordion, so you could change it to a Scottish bagpipe or so it sounded more like I know the kind of the Cayley style of the music as well. So that was really fun. I think it was one of our better concerts, or it just felt really
Yeah.
good and really fun.
So over here, it's like quite popular that the Protestant church, the Swedish church, they have a very extensive like music, how to say music
Program
program. Yeah, they host a lot of concerts, and almost every parish has their own choir and a full-time organist, and often it's more than that, like several choirs and several organists or people who lead the singing. And yeah, you can say that they are a huge employee for musicians as well, because that's like a place where you can have a good pay and they will take care of you well. And yeah, it's just and people often go to these. They're always for free for people to go to. So yeah, I don't think that exists in other countries to that extent. That churches organize so much. So often when we play as a duo, and not like, yeah, it's a more intimate constellation, smaller, so we can it fits well like in churches, and with the acoustics we can play without mics, and it's just a pleasure to perform there. Like yesterday, it was an old medieval church with medieval frescoes, and it was quite small, so like the sound was bouncing back to us, so like we heard everything really well, and it was just very nice to play there. Yeah.
Yeah. So how close or how far do each of you live from the capital city, Stockholm?
Yeah, so I'm in my family house at the moment, but so we live around 20 minutes from the center, but it's kind of a suburb, so we're close to the woods and the lakes. So that's really nice to get a bit of both.
Yeah, same for me. Like I live like 20 minutes by subway from the city center. Takes maybe half an hour, 40 minutes to get, which is fairly close. Most people who live in Stockholm always have to commute, and there's many people who live in nearby cities who commute to work to Stockholm. So things that when people move here that you might not be used to is like how big the distances are here, and so the subways and trains have to be like fairly effective and fast so that we can get anywhere. Like for example, when I moved to Glasgow, I remember like the city is smaller, so you could walk everywhere, and sometimes like the buses and the subway was so slow over there that it was like it takes the same amount of time to walk. And yeah, it's just very different from how it is in Stockholm, and you have to always calculate. You can't, when you're in the city, for example, in the evening, you have to know when the last bus or when the last subway is going so that you don't end up stranded in the city, because you need to get back out again to your home. So yeah, you can't be spontaneous in the same way. As I know, like when I compare to Glasgow, for example, there you can just call your friends any evening and everyone can be there within half an hour or something. And it's not really like that in over here. You have to plan more ahead, and normally it takes people around an hour to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose Stockholm would be a busier city than Glasgow.
Yeah.
So yeah. Mm.
Yeah. I'm sure you've heard of was it the mental syndrome that's named after that city, right? Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the connection is with the city. Oh.
Yeah, it just it it took place there in a bank. So yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah,
took,
yeah.
and
That's it.
then exactly. So yeah, happened in Stockholm then. I think there's a movie on Netflix about it as well.
Yeah. I believe there was the famous case in the U.S. about Patty Hearst, an heiress to the Hearst family fortune. They're a family of newspaper barons, I believe, and she was kidnapped by a group of I guess a radical militant terrorist group, and over time she managed to like commit some of their misdeeds with them. Like she joined them in committing some of their misdeeds. So that was like the poster child for the Stockholm syndrome. Um,
Well,
so
I guess it doesn't make like it's not like good advertising for the city, maybe.
no, I don't believe
But
so.
yeah.
I don't believe so. I believe that the show that you guys did yesterday was part of the summer tour that you guys are doing. So tell me more about it.
Yeah, so we're out on a tour, just the two of us. So we're doing some more like concerts in churches, and then we went to Italy with Woodlands. So we played at Lugo Music Festival just 2 weeks ago, and then in August we're gonna play with Justyna and Ellen, which we're really excited about. So we're gonna start up north in Näsåker, so at the Urkult Festival. So that one's a really, is it the sixth biggest in the world, maybe? Yeah, world
Yeah, I
music.
think so. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what
Quite
they say.
I think it's the biggest world music festival in Sweden, which is
Yeah,
not strictly like Swedish music, but they invite many
no,
different.
uh, artists and so on. So
Mm.
Me and Justyna played there as a duo in 2019, or yeah, I think it was.
Yes.
And so it feels really fun to come back now with Jocelyn and Ellen and yeah, play this music with them that we're really excited about. And then we're gonna travel down south again. We're gonna go to Gotland. It's an island next to the mainland in the Baltic Sea, and we're gonna play at a festival. Justyna, do you wanna?
Yeah, it's like a Renaissance fair, and but really centered around the music, and there's loads of things going on, and yeah, it's been going on for a while, this festival. And then we're playing around other parts of the island as well, in churches and a museum, and two museums or art galleries. And in Gotland is the place in Sweden which has the most like churches on the smallest area. So it's like, as I don't know, around 90. Yeah.
90, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's island, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so also apart from like some of these churches still are as they were in, but there are also many ruins, and especially in the like in the main city, which is called Visby, there's more ruins than actual like church ruins than actual churches. But they look pretty spectacular, and they also host concerts there. So we're really looking forward to playing in these places. And yeah, it's always like it's a bit of a magical feeling.
Yeah, so we're gonna be
Special
dressed
atmosphere.
more medieval clothes style, and then me and Justyna, we have like a show for kids as well. So it's called the King's Crown. So we're gonna run that over the week as well. So more like meeting different kids and showing them the Scottish music and the harp and the fiddle, which you don't see that so often together in Sweden. So yeah. And then we'll continue to Stockholm and do a few concerts here. So and then go to Dalarna as well. So we're gonna be a bit everywhere in Sweden, which is really fun.
okay. Yeah, so it's basically a nationwide tour then.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But Sweden is really long,
Yeah.
so we're just covering some
A
parts.
little bit, yeah.
Next part next time.
Yeah, it's a huge country, so yeah,
But
there's some.
how many weeks we need to be out then?
I don't know, a couple of months.
Mm.
So I wish you both the best with the tour. And yeah, do say hi to Jocelyn and Ellen when you guys meet. Like, tell them I said hi.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yes, definitely.
Yeah, you mentioned performing in churches, and I'm sure the acoustics must be fantastic there.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Yeah, last year we played in the cathedral in Visby on the Gotland island, and I think that must be one of the biggest ones in Sweden, probably. And it's still like preserved in this medieval style or Gothic style. So yeah, it was really a cool feeling to play there. But yeah, we had a fun incident. Like I think just before the concert, there's a lot of German ferries that come to this town, and then all these Germans like came to the mainland, starting, they visit the town, and some people thought like we put the instruments on the stage, or how to say, where we were performing, the front, and I always like leave the harp there, and Kristina normally she takes her fiddle with her, but I just leave the harp before. and there was some tourists that were thinking like the harp was like part of the interior, like I don't know, like the organ or something. So they were like, there was a person who like approached and started playing or something, and I was just like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit funny because they just walked around in the church and not really interacting with anyone, just in their own world. So
Oh, wow. Yeah. Huh. So I'm sure they didn't break it or anything.
no, it was fine in the end, but like it
Yeah,
was
a little bit
just
worried.
surprising.
Mhm.
Sometimes people don't have a sense of what they should
Touch.
in touch and not touch. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes yeah, I have to tell people like, please, or take a step back, and because of course you can, if someone asks, I want to try, that's fine, but yeah, you have to know how to mm, take care of it. Yeah, and same with when we do our kids shows. In the end, we always have like a Q&A, so the kids get to ask questions about it, and we have some parts that we do some magic tricks, or like we fool them, or we do some surprises, and they always want to know everything, how we did something, and when they don't understand. Um, and one time they also asked, or sometimes they ask if they can try the instruments, and for like we said yes once, and no more, because after that we were like, no, it's we can't tell them yes, because then they all rushed forward and everyone wanted to try, and it was just very chaotic. So after that we were like, no, you can look but no touch. So yeah.
So did they prefer the violin or did they prefer the harp?
Oh,
I think equal interests. No, the kids?
yeah.
Yeah. And the harp is more unusual.
Yeah, they have
So
seen that they don't usually, but yeah, the harp is like, yeah, so many strings and wow, like the sound. Yeah, just yeah, you don't see it very often, so.
yeah, it's quite uncommon.
So so did you two, Kristina and Justyna, meet for the first time when you were studying in Glasgow?
No, we actually met in, or you still have a good story for this one.
So yeah, we met in Sweden. We were both studying at the Royal College of Music in Stockholm, and the like I was in my third year, Kristina was in her second year, and they had just built a new school. So we left like the old premises and like moved in that year in the new school. And I remember it was a sunny day and everyone was happy and like in better mood because it's the new school and it's fresh and it's um, it was just so much better than the old one. Also, it was built to be a music college or conservatoire, and the old building was not, absolutely not. Like it was like an old school, but just normal school. So it wasn't at all adapted for playing music. So you could always hear like in between the walls what people were practicing, which is not ideal. And then yeah, I was just looking for a lunch spot or somewhere to sit, and was with my friend, and then I saw Kristina sitting outside on the bench, and I was like, oh, hi, can we just sit here? Which rarely happens, I don't know, in Sweden, or like that you just join someone like that. But it was a nice sunny day. I think everyone was happy. And then we started talking, and we found out we both like and play Celtic music, and then we tried. We were like, oh, let's try and jam or play together, but it was a disaster the first time, or I don't know. It just didn't. Yeah, we could. Sorry.
We didn't like, yeah, it didn't click from.
Yeah,
from
it
the
didn't click from the start.
Mm.
And but then we both found out I had applied for a master's in Scotland and got in, and Kristina applied to do the Erasmus exchange there, and at the same school. So we were like, wow, what are the odds? And then in Glasgow we became flatmates, and we started just practicing together for different projects, or we were just jamming in the kitchen because we didn't have a living room, so we just practiced in the kitchen. And then yeah, we formed our band there, and our flat was located in an area of Glasgow that's called Woodlands. So it was quite a natural, like it was an easy name for us. So it was like it fitted perfectly. Also because we are enjoy nature and are inspired by it a lot in our music, and yeah, especially I think in the Celtic music, it's a lot about the nature, and it's yeah. And then it was like the place that we started playing, so it's just yeah,
Wow.
it
Worked
fit
out.
very well.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story. Yeah. And yeah, so you took the band's name from the area in which you were staying at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lovely story to hear, like, how Justyna, you just approach Kristina, not having known her before. And
Yeah.
I wonder, so in general, are people in Sweden more reserved or to strangers?
Yeah, I think we like our own space, and yeah, we don't want to yeah, be the first one maybe who goes up to a person as well, or yeah, we're a bit reserved. So and
Oh, yeah. I see.
we like maybe the systems, and that if you go to a store you should take like a little note with a number, and when it says your number then you go to the cashier and then you pay. And so we like I think Swedes like when there's like some kind of system
Order.
or clear structure. So um yeah,
Yeah.
so if we go to the bus, we don't want to talk to anyone at the bus stop, or we want to, or like usually maybe 1 meter 2 meters apart.
So there was a joke during the pandemic, when you're supposed to stay 2 meters from each other. And then like there was a joke in Sweden, like 2 meters, that's closer than usual. Yeah. So people kept keep their distance normally as well. So
Yeah.
just
So for Glasgow, for example, their slogan is people makes Glasgow. So it's a bit different over there. People are very like always want to chat. You just walk into a pub and there's someone who's like, oh, hello, how are you doing? Oh, like starts to chat with you, and maybe that wouldn't happen so much here. But I think sometimes with the weather as well, when it's nice and sunny, as Justyna said, maybe people are more open and I don't know, happy.
yes.
Oh, this is a good day. So maybe it's a bit different when it's winter and summer as well. So I can guess.
Yeah, I think the climate here definitely shapes the people. And like I think with every country. So we were just, as Kristina mentioned, playing in Italy, and it's just very different there than it is in Scandinavia. So much more sunny people, sunny weather, sunny people, but also more relaxed people. So very different.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. I suppose if you have a chance to visit, Budapest, the city that I'm currently based in, I'll be welcome to show you around.
Oh,
Oh.
thanks.
Yeah, I've always been wanted to see this city. I've heard it's a beautiful city.
Yeah, it's a very lovely city, but like most cities in Europe, the people are not that open to strangers or
Mhm.
foreigners.
Okay.
It's can you speak English there? Would people understand?
Yeah, but they would prefer if you speak their language, which is Hungarian.
And do you speak Hungarian?
I'm currently learning, so
Yeah.
there will be
Isn't
a
it like
point.
one of the hardest languages or something? I've heard it's very difficult.
Yeah, it is, but I'm told that it has a lot in common with the Finnish language, so the language that people in Finland speaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the same language group.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been to Budapest once, but just like passing by, so just for one day. And it was on a Sunday, so everything was closed.
Oh yes.
Or it was it was Sunday and some kind of holiday. So we were like, it was so empty in the city, and we were just wondering where people were. But then we found some kind of fair or something. Something was going on in a different part. So maybe it wasn't the best day to end up there, but
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, the city can be very quiet during Sundays.
Mm.
Yeah, and of course, if I do plan to visit Stockholm at some point, I'd like to see you both in person as well.
Yeah, sure.
Let us know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be living in the same continent, so
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So finally, I'd like to ask both of you, what does music mean to you?
Oh, yeah.
Big question.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it's like I mean, music is like my life is centered around music, and in many ways, it has been a great form of like language or communication. So, helping to connect with people from all different countries and places and cultures, and it's a wonderful thing that really unites people across across anything, age and race, and yeah, and you can reach people in a different way than you can with words. And yeah, we really see, like, after playing a concert, you can see how it changes people, and in a positive way, I hope. Yeah. So yeah, it's like a wonderful unearthly thing that touches the soul, really.
Yeah, and I would say the same. It's like music is life. It's always with me, and I think I always think about music. And yeah, any like can be different, but I can be. I have a tune in my head. I go around and sing it, and then I feel like the urge. I need to get it out, and whether I don't know, guitar or piano or fiddle. So it's like always on my mind, and it's a beautiful way of meeting people and making change in the world as well. So yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah, yes, of course. And folk music is even more special because it's a way for you to communicate one particular culture to other cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a bonus side question. Are you guys thinking about competing in Eurovision?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I yeah, been
Not
watching.
after the last Eurovision. I don't want to be any part of anything like that.
Okay.
I think that was like so like it was a disgrace and shame actually. So no, yeah, it was just, it's not about music anymore.
Yeah.
As it was. But if he would gain fame from that, maybe.
Understood.
Mm,
I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you very much,
yeah.
Kristina and Justyna from Woodlands, for joining the show.
Thank you.